It's Conduit News Radio with Paul Harrell.
All right, 870-275-9799. Thanks so much for being with us today. I want to remind everybody that the Patriots of Act 746 are on a mission to educate the people of the state of Arkansas. They work with local law enforcement on the Second Amendment rights, specifically what your rights are here in Arkansas. They are doing incredible work out there. They are really the definition of what is a grassroots movement. Of course, the Patriots of Act 746 started with a law called Act 746, which decriminalized the possession of a firearm or weapon in general here in the state of Arkansas, essentially legally bringing in what is known as constitutional carry, which means essentially that, there's no law that says that you're allowed to sit on your front porch and drink iced tea, but because there's no law that says you can't sit on your porch and drink iced tea, you're perfectly free to do so. That is the status of Arkansas gun laws right now. And a lot of people in law enforcement haven't gotten the message, but more and more are, thanks to the Patriots of Act 746. So go to Facebook and check them out. Just in the search bar, search Patriots of Act 746 and ask to become a member of the group. Joining us now to talk more about this, we have from the Patriots of Act 746, once again, Mr. Chuck Clifton is with us. Chuck, welcome. Good morning.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. Glad that you could be with us. Hey, what's the membership on the page up to right now? I mean, it was, first it was 9,000, 10,000. I think it's, 15, 16,000 now?
Yeah, we're over 16,000 at this point.
I mean, that is just incredible.
And it's growing more every day.
Wow. Now, where are you calling from, Chuck? What part of the state are you calling from?
I'm actually calling from Elkins up out of Fayetteville, out of northwest Arkansas.
Okay. So that's a very active – there's an active chapter up in northwest Arkansas. There's a very active chapter in northeast Arkansas. Then you've got some southern Arkansas chapters that are really starting to they're kind of at the ground floor, but they're making a lot of progress as well. It's been pretty neat to see these individual chapters organize and really try to – have an impact on their local governments.
Yes, it is, Paul. The involvement people get into these groups is just amazing. Sometimes when you have a meet and greet and you have 30 people, 50 people show up. I think the Northwest page now is over 600, and I believe Tim and them over there in Northeast has theirs up over 1,500 now.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
The Southern groups are growing. They're adding more down there, Lynn, and Defo and them's adding more every day down there. It's a movement, and people are starting to wake up and see that the state has tried to take our right, but yet we have taken it back, and they want to know all the information they can get.
Do you guys have any meet and greets, in that area, coming up soon, up where you are?
Oh, yeah, Paul, we sure do. Matter of fact, on the 29th of September, the Northwest chapter is going to have a meet and greet in Harrison at the Western Sizzling at 2 o'clock. Mark West is actually going to be a guest speaker there. Then in Central Arkansas, there's going to be one on October the 6th at the Golden Corral in Conway at 2 p.m. Mark West is also a speaker there, one of the guest speakers. I myself am also a guest speaker at the one in Central Arkansas. In the Northeast Arkansas chapter, they're going to have a meet and greet on October the 13th at Frankie's Place in Newport. Mm-hmm. That's going to be at 2:30. I'm sure Tim has a whole list of guests that will show up there.
Yeah. And
then the Southeast Arkansas has got one September the 29th at El Ranchito in Warren, and that's also at 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
So there's going to be plenty of meet and greets around the state for people to get out. These meet and greets are open to anybody that wants to come. They're open to the general public. So anybody that's out there that would like to come to one of these and find out what we're about, you're more than welcome.
And I really think, once you go to one of these meetings, and the one in Newport on October the 13th, I'm looking at my schedule, and I'm going to try to make that one, but I'm not 100% I can't 100% commit to it yet, but I will here in the next couple days be able to make a decision one way or the other on that Saturday in the 13th in Newport. But once you actually attend one of these meetings and you see the I don't know, just how organized everything is, you really get the feel for what you're trying to accomplish. I mean, this is a movement to try to say, listen, the human right to self-defense here in Arkansas is as strong as it's ever been, and we just need more and more law enforcement to recognize this fact.
Yeah, that's true, Paul. And I think more and more law enforcement are recognizing that fact, that 573-120 changed, whenever they amended that changed the whole character of unlawfully carrying a weapon. And slowly but surely, more and more law enforcement are getting educated on that. And the more law enforcement we can educate, the better it's going to be for law enforcement and the general public.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the general public, I mean, not only do you get your rights, but your tax dollars aren't going to be wasted by, somebody that wrongfully arrests, somebody for carrying a weapon when they're not doing anything illegal. And then, of course, you get the prosecutor who eventually, drops the charges, or, you get taken, to court, and then you're found innocent. I mean, it's at this point, it can also save taxpayer money.
Oh, well, yeah, sure it does, because those prosecutors, their budgets, they only have so much money. And if they're prosecuting unwinnable cases, then that's just a waste of tax money, which in turn maybe lets some criminal not get prosecuted that should have been prosecuted.
That's a great point. We're talking with Chuck Clifton from the Patriots of Act 746. Okay, so you're calling up from Northwest Arkansas out of Elkins. Chuck, you guys got a Senate race up there going on between I guess it's Don Clements is the Republican trying to challenge. It's an open seat left vacant by Uvalde Lindsay, but you got State Representative Greg Leding, a Democrat, trying to make the leap up to the higher chamber there. What are your feelings and thoughts on that race?
Okay, Paul, I just want to remind everybody who Mr. Greg Leding is. Mr. Greg Leding is one of the sponsors for the age restrictions on so-called assault weapons. He is also one of the co-sponsors on the red flag law that they have wrote and come out with. And that is somebody that we do not need in the Senate. Don is a very strong Second Amendment supporter. I've spoke with Don on numerous occasions. I actually went and helped her put out some signs Saturday. She is all for the Second Amendment. She's for a sustainable government, less taxes. The government shouldn't be taxing its citizens to the point that, well, some people can't afford to even buy groceries, Charlie, because they're paying taxes. Don's also, she wants to do reforms to the education system to prepare students for today's high-tech workplace. Reforms to educate that support technical skills based on learning that will allow us to create high-quality pathways where students can obtain recognized credentials and strong early work experiences. Trade skills. That's one of the things that people don't think about in Arkansas is if you look at the Help Wanted sections, like in Craigslist and stuff, our skilled trades in Arkansas are hurting bad. HVACs, plumbers, electricians. There's just not enough people to fill those jobs. And that's something that Dawn is working hard to do, and that's one of her goals whenever she gets in is to help people get that training so that they can get those jobs. And I don't know if you've had an electrician or a plumber out your house lately, but those people don't come cheap. They're very well paid.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I had a plumber in my house yesterday. Matter of fact.
Then you know what I'm talking about.
All right, so that's interesting. Let's talk about this race a little bit more. Okay, so open seat, Representative Greg Leding, Can we label him as anti-Second Amendment? I mean, would you label him as anti-Act 746?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I would definitely label him anti-Second Amendment.
Okay, so then you got Don Clements, Republican, she's not anti-Second Amendment. She's for Second Amendment, and she's for those other things that you talked about. But I guess my question
and
is,
here's something else.
Okay, go ahead.
I'd like to point out too that Don believes that every time the legislature passes a new law, they need to repeal two in the process.
Yeah, I think that'd be fantastic. I also think that if you go to jail because you're a convicted felon, that all of your laws that you sponsored need to be like wiped off the books. I think that would be fantastic.
Yeah, that would be a start anyway, Paul.
Yeah, it really would. Can you imagine if all of John Wood's and Jake Files' laws that they sponsored, like I'm talking, we're lead sponsors of, just went away because they're now in jail? I mean, especially when you're in jail for honest services fraud. I mean, it's ridiculous. But talk to me about this. I mean, I think everybody knows listening, and if they don't know, I'm going to tell them now. That district up there, with Fayetteville, is very, very, very blue, very liberal, very progressive, and so it is an uphill battle for Don Clements, right?
Yes, it is. Paul, hers is Senate District 4, which runs from just north of Springdale, about AQ Chicken or so, and it runs down to Greenland, over to Prairie Grove, and then over into Elkins, kind of a square there with a little leg on it. And that is probably in my opinion, one of the most liberal districts in the state. It consists of the whole city of Fayetteville and the University of Arkansas. So she has an uphill battle, but I spoke with Dawn last night, and they're feeling real good about this. She's been getting out, talking to people, knocking on doors, explaining the difference between her and Mr. Letting, and she feels very good about it. And we sure hope she wins it.
Oh, I mean, of course, it'd be a huge upset in that area. But the fact that
that would turn that seat red instead of blue.
Yeah, it really would. And the fact that you have Greg Letting getting out there and trying to sponsor some of these red flag laws, as well as, like you said, he wants to change the age restriction for, I'm sure what they would call assault rifles, but you and I just might call them semi-automatic weapons, right?
That's correct. Assault is an action. It's not an object. I think that whenever Letting and them done that, they knew it was a red herring, Paul. They knew that bill would never get anywhere. But what's going to happen is the Republicans are going to say, well, that bill is bad. We need to write our own. So they're going to write another one, and then they're going to try to get everybody to go along with it. Say, well, it's better than the ones the Democrat wrote, so which one did y'all rather have? Well,
yeah.
I'd rather have none of them because, to start with, the red flag laws, Arkansas already has laws to cover that. And as far as the so-called assault weapons, man, I figure if a young man is old enough to go to war and use a real military-style weapon, he should be able to have an AR when he gets back home.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. And so Greg Letting wants to raise that from 18 to 21. Is that right?
That is correct.
Mm-hmm.
And now that doesn't just include ARs, anything with a threaded barrel on it. So if you have a handgun that has a threaded barrel, or say you have a .22 rifle that you squirrel hunt with,
mm-hmm.
that has a threaded barrel on it, well, that would now fall into an assault weapon.
So you're saying that wouldn't that encompass most hunting rifles then? Like, I mean, I shoot a 270. It does have a detachable magazine. It can hold like one or like three other bullets in it. So would I now have to be 21 in order to buy that?
The way I understood the law is anything that holds over 10 rounds.
Okay, over 10 rounds. Okay.
And I could be wrong on that, Paul. I don't have the law in front of me. And whenever I read that thing, it kind of read like Chinese arithmetic, like most bills do, but they do that on purpose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And another thing I would like to say, too, over in northeast Arkansas over there, we have Mr. Sturch and Ms. Epperson running over there. Ms. Epperson, I believe, in my opinion, is more pro-Second Amendment than James Sturch.
Wow, and she's running as a Democrat, though.
and she's running as a Democrat. Susie Epperson also went to the September meet and greet for Patriots Back 746 in Northeast Arkansas. I don't think Mr. Sturgis showed up at any of them. Well, he may be looking for his phone so somebody can call him and tell him where to go. So
yeah, he need from what I'm told, man. There's some vicious memes going around. Hey, let me ask you this, Chuck. You think I should have Susie Epperson on this program?
I honestly do, Paul. I think she would shake things up because she definitely she dances to the beat of a different drum, and I think that with having her on the show, I think that would shake things up, especially in the Republican Party whenever they find out that the Democrat that's running against Sturgis is more conservative and more pro-Second Amendment than he is.
Wow. Well, you know what? Just that statement alone is shaking things up. I can feel it. Well, hey, you know what? Maybe the establishment down there. I mean, they listen to this program so much, and they're mad. If I've had Mark West, the Libertarian, on. I've had some, and they get really, really upset by that. It really upsets them. So, I mean, you know what? This would be, of course, there's been other Democrats that have come on this program before. I mean, Greg Leding being one of them. He's been on before. Scott Baltz has been on before. So, yeah, I mean, I'm all about ideas and debate, and, I think that's healthy.
Yeah, well, Paul, that would make you fair and balanced.
This is true. This is true. Well, hey, Chuck, I really appreciate you coming on the program, sir, and it's always a pleasure to talk to you. And I hope your events up in Northwest Arkansas go very, very well.
Well, thank you, Paul, and as always, we really appreciate you giving us a platform to get our message out to people. And I don't think this organization could be what it is today without the help of you and Conduit News. All
right. I appreciate that, Chuck, very much. You have a great day. Folks, it's Patriots of X 746. Go to Facebook.com. In the search bar, search for Patriots of X 746. It's a closed group. Ask to become a member. And, again, they're up over 16,000 people now. We have to take a break. You're listening to Conduit News Radio. Back in just a moment.